back home in Canada, I did a Bachelor of Education, and then I tried to find a job and couldn't. So I ended up working for the YMCA as a youth counselor. And part of my job involved getting kids who had dropped out of school back into the school system, identifying what had caused their problems in the first place. Over and over again, this ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, came up as one of the explanations. Almost 99% of the kids that I dealt with, they managed to get this diagnosis and the drugs that went with it. So when I finished up at that job, I decided to go back into postgraduate studies. So I started researching the origins of this disorder. Why do we have this disorder? Where does it come from? And even as a set of symptoms, psychiatrists and pediatricians aren't really interested in these sort of symptoms until the 1950s. People in schools started to identify these children with things like hyperactivity, inattention, impulsivity, and defiance with teachers and that sort of thing. Now at the same time, drugs start to become used in psychiatric treatment. But in the 1950s, you get the rise of psychotropic drugs. So Ritalin, which is probably the most famous drug used to treat ADHD. I've done some work with the BBC as a BBC New Generation thinker, and actually from being on the radio, there was a psychiatrist based in Edinburgh who heard me talk about Dennis the Menace and why Dennis the Menace wasn't hyperactive. He and I developed a rapport, and we started talking about the importance of this disorder, because he saw the disorder as being overdiagnosed and he didn't like the drugs that were being used for it. That has been a really fruitful partnership, and it's led to some really interesting things. So for example, he is friends or colleagues with this author, William Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe read my book, and it's sort of inspired a novel for young adults. It's about some kids in London, in inner city London, and all the kids end up diagnosed with ADHD, and they get on this drug, and then for mysterious reasons the drug stops becoming available, and basically all hell breaks loose. There's little quotations from my book in this book to sort of set the stage. From ADHD, I turned to food allergy, and this is a book that's just come out with Columbia University Press. I think some of the lessons from ADHD are quite similar to what we're now experiencing with food allergy, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with that.